Okay, time for a new video, and whether you are somebody new to my channel or you are returning to my channel to watch this video, it is greatly appreciated. As always, I'm filming this video in one go, so if I stumble over my words moving forwards, apologies about that. And also, if the quality of this video is fairly poor as well, if there's any lag, anything like that at all, sadly it cannot be helped, and hopefully it is not too much of an issue for you. This is yet another Eurovision related video here on my channel, and today I'm going to be telling you my biggest growers and fallers in the Eurovision Song Contest over the past decade or so. I don't know if this is going to be particularly interesting for you, but of course, as I've said in previous videos a few times now, even though there's not really much happening in the world of Eurovision, we're just waiting for more news regarding ESC 2023, I still want to be filming videos during the off-season, and this is one such example. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Feel free to leave video suggestions. I'm very open to taking them into account moving forwards. Links in the description as always to my other social media pages too. Check them out if you so wish. So, what I have in front of me is one of my many spreadsheets. In fact, yesterday, at the time of recording this video you're watching now, I put a picture up on my Twitter page of one of the biggest spreadsheets I have, which has every single result of my lifetime, personal result of my lifetime, on it. It is a mammoth document. So take a look at that if you want. You won't really be able to see much because it's very small, but there it is. I have my other spreadsheets in front of me now, and I'm just going to go back to 2012 and take a look really at the songs that have grown the most, songs that I enjoy considerably more now than I did at the time, perhaps, and also those entries that I'm not so keen on anymore, songs that I don't really listen to that much. And I'm sure this is the case for you as well, songs that, well after the contest in any given year, you listen to again, you watch the performance again, and you realise that actually it wasn't as bad as you first imagined. And there are songs as well that you just aren't really that into as much anymore. So, what I did, long story short here, I will get into it in a moment, I promise you. Years and years ago, I started ranking the songs properly, going back to 1993, the year of my birth. And that was it. It took ages, I was very happy with it, done and dusted. And then, a few years ago, I decided to update those rankings, because I was looking at them fairly frequently, and I thought, no, that song should be much higher, that song should be a personal qualifier, blah blah blah. So I went through all of them again and changed the rankings, but I kept the original document, and this allowed me to see which songs have grown the most and which songs have fallen the most, and I made a note of it on the current document that I have. So, I'll briefly mention the semi-finals, because I don't think they really matter too much here, but 2012 semi-final 1, two countries have moved up a few places. Ireland, that's Waterline by Jedward, has gone from 7 to 5, and Russia, which is the grannies of course, Buranovsky and Babushki with Party for Everybody, has actually gone from 15 to 13. So both of those entries have gone up 2 places. It's not much, but in some instances the certain songs have actually risen quite a few places. If we go back in time, well before 2012, certain entries certainly have risen, 10, 15 places compared to what position they were originally in. In terms of fallers, Latvia has moved down 2 places, that's Beautiful Song by Anne-Marie, and Belgium has gone down 2 places, but is still a personal qualifier, that is Iris with Would You, going from 5th to 7th. In the second semi-final, Bulgaria. This is one of my biggest growers, full stop, of the 2012 contest. Of course, this missed out on the final in real life on the tie-break rule with Norway. It's Sophie Marinova with Love Unlimited. It's gone from 17 to 14. And I remember not really liking this song much at all for a very long time. I thought it was messy, the style of music wasn't really my thing, very contemporary, a mixture of languages, performed quite well, but I just wasn't really that into it, and I'm still not, but I like it a lot more now than I did at the time. As for a song that I've gone off, it's Slovakia. This was their most recent entry in the Eurovision Song Contest. Max Jason May with Don't Close Your Eyes has gone from 11 to 15. And then in the final, and obviously you've got to take into consideration here that there are my personal qualifiers here. So that might play a part moving forwards. But Italy, that's L'amore femmina out of love by Nina Zilli, has gone from 15 to 11. And Ireland, that's Jedward again, would you believe it, with Waterline, has gone from 14 to 10. Now I'm sitting here thinking to myself, hang on a minute, that's generous. Jedward 2012 in my personal top 10. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but there we are. And that's what it is when I ranked these songs a couple of years ago. As for biggest faller, down 6 places is the UK with Engelbert Humperdinck and Love Will Set You Free. This opened the final, it's a ballad, and a ballad opening a final is not something that I think we're going to get again for a very long time. And as much as Engelbert sang this well, it was always likely to struggle, and that's exactly what happened, right near the bottom on the night. So there we go. Overall, biggest faller, the UK. Biggest grower, probably Bulgaria actually, even though it's still a personal NQ. Moving on to 2013, in semi-final 1, biggest grower 2 places. Anouk, Netherlands, Birds, lovely song, 10 to 8. And then Serbia has gone from 7 to 9. That is Moje 3 and Ljubav je svuda, which of course was a group containing Sara Jo, who was the runner-up in the Serbian selection earlier this year, and also Nevena Bozovic, who represented Serbia in Tel Aviv the other year. In semi-final 2, Romania. Now, I mentioned this entry in my previous video where I spoke about the mid-table entries over the past decade or so, and this was mid-table in the final. Cesar, It's My Life has gone from being my last place in semi-final 2 of 2013 to my number 14, so a rise of a few places. And San Marino, personal qualifier, has gone from 4 to 6. That is Valentina Monetta, of course, with Chrysalide Vola. This should have qualified, in all honesty, considerably more so than her entry the following year in Copenhagen, which did indeed make the cut. In the final, 2 countries have risen a few places. Hungary, that's by Alex with Kedveshem, went from 25 to 21. And Georgia, that's Noddy and Sophie with Waterfall, that was one of the favourites to win, finished nowhere, went from 23 to 19. And then San Marino, which I just mentioned, personal qualifier, not in real life, moved from being a personal top 10 entry for me to my number 16, 10 to 16. That's a fall of 6 places. So, again, just to recap, my biggest grower of 2013 then, well, it's not really Romania because I never listened to that track. So if we look at the stats, it's Hungary and Georgia. And my biggest faller, without question, is San Marino, but I do still really like the track. 2014, ladies and gentlemen, semi-final 1. 2 countries have moved up 2 places. Albania, that's One Night Sanger by Hristiana Matmuja, and Portugal. And this is a notable one because it's gone from being a non-qualifier to a qualifier. 11th place to 9th place for Quero Ser Tua by Susie, which really got the crowd on board on the night. Belgium has gone from 12 to 15, which I'm not surprised by. Axel Irsu with Mother. He won the Belgian selection very convincingly, but he never really stood much of a chance at the contest. In semi-final 2, Austria is my biggest grower, the real-life winner. More on that in a moment, because it is a significant rise. But Malta went from 5 to 8, Greece went from 6 to 9, Romania went from 4 to 7. Mainly because Austria moved up so many places. For a long, long time, Rise Like a Phoenix by Conchita Wurst was not a personal qualifier of mine, which I know is outrageous to some of you, I'm sure. It very much now is a personal qualifier. It moved the other year from 11th to 4th. That's a big rise. In the final, Austria is there, all of a sudden, in 12th place. So it never used to be in my personal grand final of the Copenhagen contest. But the other year, that changed, and it's now my number 12 of that year. That is a huge grow, if you ask me, absolutely. But otherwise, Greece is my biggest faller. That's Freaky Fortune and Risky Kid with Rise Up, the trampoline, you might remember, going from 14 to 21. And then my biggest grower, and this is a huge rise of 9 places, is Poland. That is Donatan and Cleo, of course, with Myślowianie We Are Slavic, which has gone from 23 to 14. Absolutely, I underrated that one at the time, but now I certainly enjoyed a lot more. So biggest faller, Greece. Biggest growers, Austria, absolutely, and Poland. 2015. My biggest grower in semi-final 1 is Moldova, 15 to 12. I never really listened to that track. That's I Want Your Love, which opened the semi. Biggest fallers, 2 places for Armenia, 13th to 15th, and Greece, which is now an NQ. That is Maria Elena Kyriakou with One Last Breath. Rather typical ballad, quite dramatically performed, moving from 9th to 11th. In semi-final 2, several countries moved up 1 place, so there's no point mentioning them. Portugal went from 11th to 13th, although I actually like that song more now than I did at the time, and Slovenia, which is Here For You, going from 5th to 7th. In the final, no really big growers here. Lithuania, 16th to 13th, Ireland, 14th to 11th, Georgia, 18th to 15th. Out of those 3, Ireland, absolutely. That's Playing With Numbers by Molly Sterling. Oh my goodness me, this is just a lovely track. If anything, if I was to update this list again very soon, I think Ireland would be in my personal top 10 of the 2015 contest. It's just a lovely ballad, and I remember thinking at the time that it shouldn't have won the Irish selection because there was a song by Erica Selin, I think her name is, with Break Me Up. And I thought, that's the one that Ireland should be sending. That's bound to do well. They didn't pick it. They sent this instead, and in all honesty, it was the right choice. Criminally underrated by the public, shock horror. Juries liked it. Deserved better. Molly Sterling had another song a few years ago, which I'm not sure is online anymore, but it's called Ghost in My Bedroom. That's a really fantastic track. That's a complete side note. My biggest faller, it's the UK, Electro Velvet with Still in Love With You. This was my number 13 once upon a time. That's generous as all hell. It's now my number 19, which is arguably still very generous. Yeah, I watched this performance back not so long ago, and oh, it just screams of like such an amateur production, you know. Oh my god, the light-up outfits and the oh yes, oh my god, it was just so cheesy. But anyway, there we are. It's listenable, but perhaps only once a year, if that. Moving on to 2016. A couple of countries have moved up 2 places, San Marino, Armenia and Sweden. You're probably thinking, hang on a minute, Sweden's an automatic qualifier in 2016, but not with me, because Sweden was not my winner the previous year. It's a long story, made a video all about how I put together my rankings and everything. My biggest fallers from semi-final 1 that year, Greece is now my last place, and that's Utopian Land, and then Malta going from 7th to 9th, absolutely. In semi-final 2, Israel and Bulgaria moved up 2 places, Latvia and Ukraine down 2 places. Ukraine, I hate to say this because I know that it's disgusting to some of you, but 1944 is one of my least favourite winners we've ever had. And it's one of my least favourite songs of the 2016 contest. But that doesn't mean I hate it, don't come for me. I actually do like it more than I did at the time, even though it has actually moved down a few places. But that's just because there's other songs that I still prefer a lot more, that I listen to more frequently. There's no denying that it was a smashing performance by Jamala. Absolutely terrific performance and vocally very, very impressive. But I just like a lot of other songs a lot more. In the final, Israel is my biggest grower. That's Hovi Star with Made of Stars. This was nowhere with the public. In the final and the semi-final. Absolutely nowhere. Terribly underrated. It's gone from 21 to 15. As for biggest fallers, Latvia, which is a really good song, Heartbeat by Justs, has gone from 10 to 16. Malta, Irolosko, formerly a runner-up at Eurovision, from 18 to 24. So my biggest faller really is Malta. Walk on Water, that was arguably very overrated by the juries. The public very harsh with their mark, but unsurprisingly so. That's my biggest faller. I really don't listen to that song very often at all, and I don't think the performance is that incredible, to be honest with you. And then my biggest grower, Israel. Absolutely. There we go. Moving on. Let me know your biggest risers and fallers as well over the years in the comments if you so wish. 2017, semi-final 1, Moldova's up 2, that's Hey Mama, and Slovenia is up 2 to being a personal qualifier, that's Omar Naber with On My Way, which a lot of people at the time, and still to this day, rank very low down. But I've always not minded it. Iceland going from 5 to 8. In semi-final 2, Hungary 15 to 11. Now, if I was to update this list again, Hungary, that's Yotsi Papai with Origo, which finished top 10 in the final, you'll remember. Lovely track, beating the instrument, you might remember. If I was to update the list again, I think it probably would be a personal qualifier. Serbia, on the other hand, going from 11th to 15th. That was the opening song of semi-final 2 that year in Kyiv, In Too Deep by Tijana Bogicevic. Yeah, not really much of a fan. In the final, Finland, which is a personal qualifier, Norma John with Blackbird. My goodness me, that's an underrated gem. Going from 12 to 8. Very maudlin, but a very good song. And Iceland, that's Svala with Paper, going from 15 to 20. So that's 2017. Finland, biggest grower. Iceland, biggest faller. Hungary too. I like that song a lot more now than I did at the time. Moving on to 2018, you might well remember that the first semi-final was being touted in Lisbon as the toughest semi-final there'd ever been, and certainly it was a bit of a bloodbath. Czech Republic, Mikolas Josef with Lie to Me, going from 13 to 11, Ireland going from 9 to 7, several countries moving down one place, Croatia, Azerbaijan, Bulgaria, Macedonia and Finland. Certainly the Croatian entry I've never really enjoyed that much, that's Franca with Crazy. And Bulgaria, Equinox with Bones, which you have to say was a bit of a flop at the time because it was one of the favourites to win. Also a song that I've never really listened to much in the years since. In semi-final 2, Doridos with My Lucky Day for Moldova going from 10 to 5, and Ukraine going from 5 to 9, that's Melovin with Under the Ladder. And he's also my biggest faller in the final, going from 20 to 24. Ouch. Really like the song, but there's 23 other songs I like a lot more. Simple as that. Moldova, my biggest grower, going from my last place in the final, 25, to number 19. So there we go. Lovely. Moving on to 2019 then. Do bear with me, we're nearly there. San Marino went from 13 to 12, and Israel went from 12 to 13. Now, I should say that I think by the time the 2019 contest came around, I had updated all of my previous rankings. So when it came to 2019, I ranked them, said that was it, and it was done and dusted. But it says here, in May of last year, I moved San Marino up one place, and Israel, which is a semi-finalist for me, down one. And then in the second semi-final, nothing changed. And then in the final, Iceland, that's Hatrith Munsigra, of course, by Hattari, going from 18th to 16th. And the UK, Michael Rice with Bigger Than Us, going from 16th to 18th. So not much has changed in the past few years there. And then that's really it, because nothing else has changed. I haven't updated my 2020 top, of which my winner is Norway, if you're wondering. And I didn't update my 2021 top 26, of which Italy is my winner. And then, of course, this year, and it was only a few weeks ago that I said, okay, this is sort of it now. I'm not going to be touching this ranking for many years now. My 2022 top remains the same, of which Sweden is my winner. So there we go. Something else I will add while I'm here, because this may be of interest to some of you, is how many countries in my personal final weren't in the real life final, if you see what I mean. So for example, in 2012, 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 songs that didn't qualify in real life, but are personal qualifiers for me. Austria, Switzerland, Belarus, Belgium, Netherlands and Slovenia. In 2013, there's 5 songs, Serbia, Austria, Switzerland, Albania and San Marino, not qualifiers in real life, qualifiers for me. In 2014, there's 4, Israel, Estonia, Ireland and Portugal. In 2015, there's 5 is that. Belarus, Denmark, Malta, Ireland, Iceland, and the Netherlands. Which actually is a personal qualifier anyway, because the Netherlands was my winner in 2014. 2016, there's 5: Iceland, Slovenia, Norway, Estonia, Ireland, and Finland, so there's 6 actually. 2017, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6: North Macedonia, Slovenia, Iceland, Estonia, Finland, and Switzerland. 2018, there's Malta, Switzerland, Poland, and Belgium, which is my winner of the Lisbon contest. Excuse me. 2019, there's Armenia, Lithuania, Poland, Ireland, Belgium, which is a personal qualifier because they won the year before with me, and Hungary, so there's 6 there. 2020, doesn't matter. 2021, Czech Republic, Australia, Romania, Denmark, Estonia, and Ireland, so 6 again. It's usually about 5 or 6. And then this year, Albania, Denmark, Cyprus, Malta, Austria, and Ireland are personal qualifiers, but weren't qualifiers in real life. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. A big ramble, perhaps not the most engaging video from me once again, but no surprises there. Let me know your biggest growers and fallers of the past decade or so. I'm genuinely interested to know. Or, even before 2012, is there a song that you like so much more now compared to the first time you perhaps heard it? And is there a song that you're just not that keen on anymore, whether that's because of the lyrics, or the style of music just isn't your thing anymore, or maybe you saw the performance back and thought, hang on a minute, this isn't that incredible? Whatever it is, let me know. I'm going to finish this tea, and I will be back with another Eurovision related video very soon, probably discussing the 2023 edition. There was some news recently, I think it was in a Spanish newspaper or something, saying that Spain will not host next year's competition, and that if Ukraine can't do it, the UK apparently will be asked. Something along those lines. But is it going to be Kyiv 2023? I've got to say, I'm finding it hard to believe that that's a possibility. But you just never know. You never know. Until next time, hopefully the quality wasn't too bad. Take care of yourselves, stay safe, and I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye for now.